Last week I stopped over to St. David's to pick up some mail that had arrived there for me. I let myself in the office door, walked up the stairs, and was struck by the realization that I had not been in the building for over 4 months. 1/3 of the year 2020. A building that I previously had entered multiple times every week for decades. I walked from the offices into the nave where the congregation sits for every service, shoulder to shoulder, sharing in every variety of worship experience. Weekly Eucharists, weddings, memorial services, and the empty nave echoed with 70 years of lives lived in that community of faith. The word nave means boat in Latin, like the word navy. So our St. David's boat guided us through every kind of storm from the middle of the last century until 20 years into this century. Right now, though, our boat is in dry dock, undergoing necessary adjustments for a new kind of storm, and each of us in our faith community sails on our own voyage, reaching out to each other through Zoom meetings, online worship, and email. It is a startling change, but we have no choice but to adjust our sails as best we can to the winds of our time. This gospel lesson this morning is a powerful reminder of our role as Christians during this time. At the very beginning of these verses, Jesus commands his disciples to cross to the other side of the lake while he tends to the crowds left after the feeding of the 5,000. Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead to the other side while he dismissed the crowds, it says. It's as if he is telling them, our work is over on this side of the lake. Go see what is needed on the other side. One side of the Sea of Galilee was the Jewish side, where they were, and the other side of the sea was the Gentile side, unclean, not pure, not adherent to the Jewish traditions, not safe or familiar. Jesus is telling them that church now is over there. And of course, there is a storm that must be navigated before they can get there. Through the night, high waves batter the boat, but Jesus makes an impossible in-person visit to reassure them that they will be safe. Peering through the mist of furious winds and rain, they begin to make him out. At first thinking he was a ghost, and then as they see him more clearly, realizing that it really is Jesus. That is what we as a congregation are doing right now in this age of the pandemic. We are gazing through this sudden change in our lives, in our culture, in our nation, looking for the image of Jesus in a new context, and aware that the circumstances of our current reality are demanding that we look out there, outside of what is familiar for us, and find the mission that Christ has in mind for us. We can listen to that echo in our now silent nave for the voices of guidance from our forebears at St. David's. Somehow they steered the ship through storms like Vietnam, the 60s civil rights movement, assassinations, terrorist attacks, AIDS, the list goes on and on. Ordinary folks who had faith in God and in each other adjusted to the challenges they faced and left a great heritage at St. David's of community service through St. David's School, the ICA food shelf, families moving forward, loaves and fishes, and more. We have that legacy at St. David's of being willing to cross the sea, willing to fight through the weather at hand. And we can look to Peter's role in this story as our model for surviving and thriving as a parish during these challenging times. Immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." But Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat, started walking on the water, and came towards Jesus. Peter is not inadequate to the task that he asked Jesus to make possible for him. He asks, Jesus says, "Come on over." And he is able to do it. So if his problem is not inadequacy, what is it? Doubt. Peter takes his eyes off of Jesus, looks out into the staggering winds, and immediately begins to sink. So as we move forward into this uncertain time, let's keep our eyes on Jesus Christ. Let's not focus on the winds of the change, but on our adequacy for the task at hand. Let's keep reaching out to one another in the same way that Jesus reaches out to Peter to bring him to safety. We may not know exactly what the future of our parish is going to look like going forward, or what the timetable will be for restoring ourselves to a new normal. But we do know that we are here for each other, that Jesus is with us, that we are part of a ministry that has a long and vibrant heritage. Let's keep the faith, trust in one another, and we will weather the storms of our time. Amen.